Okay, the clock is running. We are going to be doing a series of videos on the Battle of Gettysburg. And this is an online game developed by Wargame Design Studio, a very good one. And it's of the Battle of Gettysburg. I am going to be playing the Confederates, and AI is going to be playing the Union. So here is the battlefield. I think each hex is about 100 yards. Um, and this is the Chambersburg Pike. We're just starting out on July 1st. In fact, the time is 7 a.m. July 1st. Visibility is 40 hexes. And this is Heth's Confederate division marching down the Chambersburg Pike. Now, I can turn the scroll wheel here and we can get different icons for the playing pieces, but I like these, for this battle, I like these images. I always turn the scroll wheel the wrong way, but if I turn it on a zoom in, you can get a pretty good image here. And you can see the Confederates have deployed two skirmishers here. Now, you see the column on the left, it indicates the unit I'm clicking on. You can see it changes and it gives you some information on it. For instance, this first unit contains General Archer, who's in charge of the brigade, and it contains the 1st Tennessee. And you can see it's comprised of 281 men. Its strength is at 100%. It's got a C morale rating. It goes from, I don't think there's any F morale units in this battle, but there's probably some D ones. Goes D, C, B, A, just like your grading system in school. Its weapon has a range of 5 hexes. Its movement is 4 hexes. Fatigue is 0, means it's not tired. It's in column. So it tells you quite a bit of information in this display. But if you right click on it, it tells you the organization. For instance, this brigade is Archer's Brigade. It's in Heth's Division, the 3rd Corps, Army of Northern Virginia. The weapon is an infantry musket. Now down below here, it gives you some information on the hex. It's a clear hex. The elevation is 530 feet. And if you right click on it, it tells you that there's a pike coming in on the northwest hex and it leaves on the southeast hex. And that you can stack the equivalent of 251 men here. Now, I believe an artillery gun is 10 men and a horse is equivalent to 10 men. So when you overstack, obviously, if you try to overstack, it won't let the overstack unit enter the hex. Okay, so let's check units up here to see if any come in this turn. Nobody comes in this turn, so it's Heth's Division against the world. And down here, you can see some information on this bottom line here. It's 7 a.m., July 1st, Confederate movement phase, turn 1 out of 156 turns. I think each turn is about 15 minutes. And there's the visibility of 40 hexes. So we see two Union cavalry regiments of Buford's division, obviously, deployed here in line formation, attempting to restrict the passage along this road. So the skirmishers are going to be no match for them. But their advantage is it's real hard to kill skirmishers, really hard, because they're all spread out, and if you fire at them, you're not going to get many casualties because they're so spread out. And they always, unlike a line unit or column who stands out in the open in this part of history, in this time in history, these skirmishers took advantage of any terrain or obstacle. They would hide behind trees. They would fall down into a ground swale. They would hide behind logs. And so it's almost a waste of time firing at them, even with artillery. You might get a couple casualties on them if you're lucky. So they're real hard to get rid of. But they're useful in that they can move around behind enemy positions and cut roads. They can make, if you let them go run wild, they'll be real difficult, and they can even sometimes charge artillery batteries from the rear or block lines of retreat or lines of advance. So you can't just almost let them wander around wherever they want, otherwise they can create a lot of mischief. But they really can't attack anything like these two combat units. They would get massacred because, like, this one is 135 men. That's pretty strong, actually. What? This one's 308 men? Oh, that can't be a skirmisher. What unit are these from? 13th Alabama. 5th Alabama. Okay, here's the 1st Tennessee Brigade. 7th Tennessee. 14th Tennessee. What's this one? 42nd Mississippi. Okay, I see what happened. So the 5th Alabama, looks like that's all there was to it. Or just these two parts. So it broke down into two skirmishers. Actually, this is pretty strong for a skirmisher. I would almost consider that the remainder of the regiment. But it's designated as skirmisher. Well, I don't know. That's very strange. So at 300 men, you really don't want to get out in the open and take fire from these carbines of the British cavalry, because you're going to get cut up. Even at 135 men. I'm used to playing with skirmishers, or 50 men, 75 men. So these are pretty strong. I'm not going to really put those out in the open. So I'll work those. I'll work this one around the flanks. Now I'm going to talk through these turns. So wherever we leave off after an hour, I'm going to make each turn about an hour. Then we'll just continue it in the next video. So I'm going to comment on things and strategies I'm thinking of. We're playing with fog of war, so I can only see what my units see. And the same thing for AI, I guess. I don't know how they handle that, but it's supposed to be the same for them. So AI can only, I don't think it can even see this unit because there's woods in front of it, but it can see this one, so it knows there's something in front of them on its left flank. But it can't see all these units stacked up because it doesn't have any eyes on it. If it had a unit in the woods here, then it could see these units here. So that's the interesting thing about AI, and it's a lot of fun to play with because there's a lot of unknowns introduced with it. Like, where is the enemy really deployed? Is he hiding behind this ridge? Is he hiding in this gully? Is he hiding in the woods? You don't know until you get close enough to see. And sometimes you have to get next to him to see, and then he can fire on you. And that's what happened with the Confederates here with Archer's brigade. They kind of like bumped into the Iron Brigade. So anyway, looking at this terrain in the north, it's nasty stuff. You got a stream here, so you'll have to go in column across the stream, because if you try to go in line, you'll get disordered. Same thing when you hit the woods. You can't be in line in the woods, otherwise you're going to be, you can't move through the woods in line. You can be there in line, but you can't move through it. So there's a lot of woods here, and you're going to go like 1 hex a turn through the woods. And even in here, it's going to take you 2 turns. And then you've got some sort of gully here. That's going to slow you down. And then you got to cross the stream again before you get out in the open. But when you're out in the open, then you got woods and streams and a gully. So this is just nasty stuff to maneuver through. So I'm not even going to think about it. There's no, well, there's a road over here, but it's, and besides, you've got Rhodes Division coming in just a little farther down here. Is it down this road? Yeah, down the Mumfordtsburg Road. So why try to shift there when by the time you shift your units here, Rhodes is going to be coming down here. So I'm not going in that direction. Now, south, we got this big clump of woods. That's no good either. And here we've got this road just to the side of me, which goes way away from everything. Whoop. And then comes back here through the woods. There's still a lot of woods around here. But there is a road, so we can go up to Hare Tavern. And once we get up here, we kind of break open in a little ground. We have more woods here. We have to cross a stream, but we can go across on this road. Now, once we start coming out here, there's some decent fighting ground here where we can use artillery, but that's a ways away. You've got to go way backwards to get there, which I don't like. Sometimes I get lost here. Here we go. Now, there's a road right in back of these guys that just goes a little ways away, crosses over here, and here you're in open ground. It goes back here. You're shielded by woods from observation, which is good. And you could go down here 1 of 2 ways. You can either go to Hare Tavern, and there's cleared out area here, or you can go down here, cross this creek, and go to Seminary Ridge, the Lutheran Cemetery, which was where the Iron Brigade historically did most of their fighting, in front of here. And there's open ground to the south here, and a thin wood layer on Seminary Ridge. And once you pass that, you're at Gettysburg. So that seems like the best way to go. So I don't want to, well, there's another thing in this game. They call it a jump map. Just press the J key and it shows you the entire battlefield. Now you can see what's displayed on the screen is this little red box. That's what you can see on the screen. And all you have to do is point to something and click, and it'll move the red box on that item and take you there. So even if you're lost, you know, you press the J key, you can see the Confederate units are in red. The Union units that I can see are in blue. So if I was somewhere out here, I could just click on these guys and go right to it. I mean, this is like genius and really, really useful. I get lost all the time. So this is a huge battle map. I'll bet it's 250,000 hexes. And that's the size of these battle maps. That's why it's wonderful to play a game on here, because as a board game you could never play this. And I've played War in Europe as a board game, and that's only 8 feet by 8 feet. This is maybe 50 by 75 feet. But even on an 8 foot by 8 foot map, you can't really move on it, because the center of the map, you can't bend over far enough to reach the center of the map to move units. Whereas in this case, it's really easy. You're not doing any bending at all. You're just doing some clicking. So anyway, enough talk for a while. And now, not much disorders, skirmishers. In fact, nothing that I can determine, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't like moving this guy out in the open. So let's move him here. And that's as far as we can move. Well, I did move through the woods. So you can see the flag flaps in the wind, and the front there's a front and the back, and it corresponds to the facing of the unit. So if the flag you see here faces backwards, this unit is facing this way. That's important this game, because you can be flanked. So all these units marching in a row, you can see how their flag flaps to the back. They're all faced in front. Now all of these units are in column formation. That's the only formation you can use moving on the road. Otherwise, if you're moving in line formation, you can't take advantage of road movement, which speeds up your movement a lot. So this guy will move out here. Now I'm thinking this guy's really a skirmisher. I guess we'll find out soon enough, because, I mean, it says so. But if I move through the woods and he's actually not a skirmisher and he's not in column, then I'll disorder, which won't be too good. So let's see. Where is this building? Which hex? Huh. I would think it'd be some defensive value. But I guess it's just nothing. It's just there for historical purposes. So I was going to go out and hide in that building, but I guess I can't. It's probably too many men, 300, to even hide in a building like this. So these are just for, let's see if this building has any defensive value. These are just for historical purposes. They have no combat value. So I don't want to bring this guy out into this building. So I'm going to move. Okay, he's not disordering. So he is a skirmisher. I'm going to move him up through the woods. That's as far as I can move. You can see the arrow showing the movement. Here you can see the movement goes to 0, which is great. Now what I want to do basically is scare these guys out of here so I can use this road. And I'm willing to deploy Archer's brigade against them, but I don't want to necessarily deploy anybody more. You can see they're right in a bottlehead right here. And their flanks are covered by the woods here and the woods there, so it's a really good position. So then when I get this road, then I'm going to start moving the 2nd Brigade, whoever he is, along this road. So okay, let's move up Archer's brigade. Now you can see these brigades, the base of them are color coded. So you can see Archer's is in like a red, and the brigade behind him is like in purple, and the brigade, the artillery here is in blue. Then you've got a brigade in black here. You've got another one in dark blue. So that's, the game penalizes you if you don't keep brigade integrity. So you always want to keep your brigade, your regiments fairly close together, 3-4 hexes. Okay, what's this guy gonna do? Well, he's gonna march up to these woods. I do believe I can deploy. I don't think I have enough movement points to do that anyway. I can deploy into line in the woods, but I can't move through the woods in line. So next turn, I guess I'll deploy in line and then move forward in line. And I shouldn't disorder. Well, for the heck of it, Archer's with that brigade. Let's see if I can deploy them. Nope, I didn't think so. It only has 2 movement points. And they short you on movement points, I think, the first couple turns, just so you don't go wacky and do something typically unhistorical. So I'll move this guy, I'll move everybody up. Now this guy's only got 2 movement points. Yeah, so I can't deploy. I can't go to each of these wood areas. They really fix you the first couple turns. They want you to kind of start out the way they historically did. I mean, this was a meeting engagement, and Heth was completely surprised to be confronting elements of the Union Army. He thought he'd just run into some militia that would take to their heels as soon as they saw it was the Army of Northern Virginia approaching on him. So he was completely unprepared to do any maneuvering. He was just like marching down the road, and he thought, well, he'll march right into Gettysburg with no opposition at all. Oh, I see. I must have the command range turned on. I think I'll turn that off. Yeah, I do. Because it keeps changing colors, because it shows me the command range. What is that command? C. So I can just hit a C to see it. It shows me the command range of my leaders. I don't want it flipping on and off here. It'll drive me crazy because it changes. It shades the color, the hexes. Okay, that's it. Nobody else, and nobody comes on. Okay, that's all I can do. I hope I can bluff those guys out of there. I don't really want to fight them. They may just run away. Because now AI is seeing the skirmishers go out on the flanks and a regiment coming into view in the woods. So they got to be thinking, oh, there's a lot more behind them. So there's only two of us. So maybe it's time to beat it. Let's see if that's what AI does. So let's go to the next phase. Oh, it asked me if I want to save the game. Yeah, I do. Okay, it's Union defensive fire. Now I think his carbines, I don't see any artillery deployed, are too short a range to fire on me. And they are. So I get offensive fire. Well, I really don't have any. I suppose I can ignore this building here, but even so, what's this guy got? His range is 5. Well, he does have rifles, but I would only, at this range, inflict a couple casualties on him, so it's not even worth it. I might run out of ammo a lot sooner, firing off at the drop of a hat. So I'm not going to fire, and we'll go on to the next phase. So the way the phases are, you move, the enemy gets to fire at you, you get to fire on him, he moves, the enemy gets to fire on you, you get to fire on him. So each side has a move, and each side gets to fire twice during the turn. Oh, shoot. I keep moving this too fast. When you move this thing, it just flies around like crazy. You got to move it slower. Okay, it's Confederate offensive fire. So we're going to go on to probably Union movement. Oh, Confederate melee. Oh, I don't have any melee. Look, another cavalry regiment popped up. Oh, I guess I couldn't see him through the house. But when this skirmisher came into the woods here, I guess he can see him. So okay, looks like he might be fighting there after all. Let's see what he does. Now, Union movement. Let's see what he does. He's going to stand fast. Just my luck. Yep. Confederate defensive fire. Well, don't have any yet. Well, so much for the bluff. Oh, I tried to move, but you can see the bullseye here on my cursor. I'm in the firing phase, so we've got to go to next. Union offensive fire. He's probably got none now. He's too far away. Okay, now I can move. Confederate movement. Well, I'm going to move up through the woods here. I can move up one more. I might take some fire now. This guy. Maybe he can move once more. Nope, just twice. Now, let's see. Let's see if I can reface him. I can. So you see the flag going backwards now? I'm facing in this direction. So if he comes into these woods and he wants to fire at me, he can do that. Otherwise, next turn, I'll go into these woods and I'll fire on him. Or maybe I'll go in behind him. We'll see. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Well, he can probably 1, 2, 3. This guy can probably fire at me if I come out here. 1, 2, 3. I'm probably too far away here, so I'm going to come out over here. I'm going to reface myself. See these markers up here? I'll press that one. It costs me movement points to do that. I have to do it again. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm still in column. Oh, I screwed up pretty good here. I thought I was in line. Okay, kind of wasted that. So let me turn here. So I at least face him, but I'm in column. Well, it's too far to shoot anyway. What a waste. Okay, I'll bring this regiment out here, and I'll put him into line. Oh, well, I don't blame him. He won't let me put him in the line in the woods. So I have to go up here. I don't have a, it costs more than 5 movement points to go in line? Guess so. Okay, you can see this guy is facing this way, which is the wrong way, so I've got to reface him just in case I'm attacked, because he's in line. Well, I don't know if he has enough movement points to close with me, but I don't want to take the chance. So I'll at least face him. And I'm remembering, I don't think you can move these units and change formation. I'll bet that's true. You have to do your formation change initially. We'll try to change his formation. Yep, that's probably true. You have to do your formation change. And then I think, I'm not sure whether there's any movement points left over to move. So this brigade, Archer's brigade, is in column and facing the Union. They'll go into line next turn. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take this second brigade. Looks like Davis. Is it? Yeah. I'm going to take him off the road and move up the artillery. Okay. Can I unlimber? Yes. Okay, we'll see if he wants to stick around now. Bring up another battery. Put him over here. And I will turn him. He's still limbered. I'll bring up one more battery. I mean, this should discourage him from staying. And I'll bring him up here, and I'm going to leave him limbered. It's hard for you to see, but I can see the 2 units in there. So I'm going to see if I can turn him. I may not have enough movement points. I can turn him. It takes 2 movement points a turn. So I've got 3 units in column. I've got 3 3 batteries, one under each unit, and under this first regiment, I've got the battery unlimbered, so it's deployed for action. And I've got this guy working, this skirmisher working around the flanks now. I don't know if he wants to stay. Now, I'm going to put Davis's brigade back on the road. Because I want him to go along this road as soon as these guys skedaddle. And I'll bring up the rest of the division here so they're all set to move. Now, that artillery should discourage those guys. If not, then I'll start firing on them, I guess. If it were me, when the artillery showed up, I'd get the hell out of there. But the AI, I've learned from playing several Napoleonic and Civil War games, very aggressive, and it's only set on 50%. I mean, I'm playing one game, the Battle of Waterloo, and the French were attacking in that battle, and Wellington commanded the British, and they defended throughout the whole battle. But what's happening is the British are attacking, and the French are the defenders, which are is the weirdest thing. So if he's that offensive in that battle, I mean AI, it's an it, not a he, then that's pretty scary, because it doesn't matter if the situation overall is fairly hopeless, it'll still attack. So you've got to be ready for anything, and this is fog of war, so a lot of people can be hidden and then jump out at the last second. You'll be screwed. Let's see if anybody else comes on now. Probably a little early for anybody to be arriving. Yeah. So this is it. Okay, so here I am. Let me go up here. Here's the battle area. Okay. He's got 2 brigades here. I don't know. See, I don't know anything about these units, except I see they are regiments. Now, I know they're cavalry. I wouldn't even know that because they're deployed in line. So, I mean, it could be infantry, but I know there's no infantry in the game now. It's just Buford's 2 cavalry brigades, and this is just part of one of them. So there's still another one somewhere around, but it's not like it can operate on my flanks because the woods are on both flanks, and if he were to go through the woods, he'll get disordered. And if you're disordered, you're at half value. And each cavalry regiment has to, the game allocates 25% of their men as horse holders, so they don't have a lot of men to spare. Okay, see if he's going to fire on me. Union defensive fire. Yeah, of course he does. He always does. Okay, got 2 men. No effect. See, AI, I mean, that's one weakness I see with AI. He fires at the drop of a hat. And he'll fire with skirmishers, especially where there's almost no chance to get casualties. You'll get, 1 or 2 casualties or no effect all the time. He'll still fire with them. Now, the trouble with that is you can run out of ammunition at some point. And that's always a pain in the butt because if you got no ammunition in this game, you really can't do much in the way of fighting. But he pops off like these two guys, these two regiments, they didn't have a chance to cause much in the way of casualties, but they fire anyway. It's like, why not save your ammunition? You only got 2 casualties on me. And I'm just there to kind of hold them in place. Or hold their attention on me rather than these units back here. Okay, now I get defensive fire. Well, I really don't have, well, 2 guns. Jeez. First Fredericksburg. Well, they can't fire anyway. Now, here's the thing. If you move your artillery, if you're a foot battery, you can't fire during that turn. It's either move or shoot. If you're horse artillery, that's different. You can move and shoot the same turn. So I just love horse batteries. But these aren't horse batteries, so they can't fire this turn, so I've got no fire. Whoops. I keep moving this cursor too fast, and it keeps moving the map fast. I gotta slow it down. Let's do the next turn. Okay, Confederate melee. Obviously, I've got no melee. Next, Union movement. Okay, let's see if he moves. Well, he's moving stuff, but I can't see what he's moving. But he didn't move these guys. Okay, he doesn't want to go anywhere. Okay. Now this is going to be unpleasant. Oh, I'm supposed to shoot. Okay. I was trying to move. So we're going to the next phase, Union offensive fire. And of course he's going to fire on these guys again, these skirmishers. He got 1 man there. And no effect. Jeez. Okay. And he's got no melee, so now it's Confederate movement. Okay, I'm going to move these guys. Behind here. I don't. And then, see, can I turn them around? Nope. All right, so I've moved out here. I can see out here, and there's no units here, which is good. And I'm on his rear. So if I flip around here next turn and move into this hex, I'll fire at his rear. You get bonuses for doing that. Now I'm going to deploy this artillery. I'm going to stay where I am here. I'm going to go into line. And then I'm going to deploy the artillery. Unlimber it. So next turn I'll be ready to fire. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm just out of his range. And then I'm going to start nailing him with artillery. Now this guy, it's already unlimbered. So I'll put the infantry in line. Then over here I'm going to do the same thing. We'll see what he does. I'll unlimber the gun. Okay, so in all of these hexes, I have the guns unlimbered and the infantry in line. Okay, I'm going to take these skirmishers and I'm going to move them in the woods here. Okay, that's as far as I can move. Okay, I'm going to keep everybody else on the road. In another turn or two, I'll know if he's going to move out. Now, I don't know, both of his flanks are getting turned, and the artillery is deployed right in front of him. Oh, geez. This house is here, so I may not be able to fire through the house. Dude, I should have thought of that. Well, I don't know. That house, if it's a 100-yard hex, that house, as big as it looks now, is minuscule in that hex, and it should not inhibit fire. I mean, that thing is like 100 times bigger than it actually is, because if each hex is a yard, is 100 yards, and this house is what, 20 feet across? There's only 2 windows there. I mean, it's like, 4 yards out of 100. So it's like a little speck on the battlefield, so I should be able to fire through it. We'll see. Okay, these guys are all going to stand pat for the moment, and then I'm going to see if I get any more units coming in here. No, not yet. No Pender. Okay. Union defensive fire. Of course, he fires at me in the woods. 1 man. He fires at these guys. Okay, so he can fire through the house. 1 man again. Now Confederates get to fire. Now these 2 batteries cannot fire, but this one can. But it's only 2 stinking guns. Well, better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, I can fire at him. 8 men. Okay. Let's do the next phase. Confederate melee. Well, I've got none because I'm not next to him. Union movement. Now let's see what he does. Okay, we got a unit coming into view here. These guys are turning. My, that's a dangerous move. Because now he exposes his flank to Archer. Wow. But he's holding his ground. Okay. Well, Confederate defensive fire. Now my guns can fire. Okay, so let's do that. Bang, 12 casualties. Okay, now it's getting dicey. And I'll fire in his flank. I'm going to get some adjustments for that. 11. Okay. 23 casualties. Just sitting there. Here we've only got 2. Those artillery guys must be cross-eyed. Okay, Union offensive fire. Of course, in the woods, gets no effect. No effect. That's why I didn't fire. Union melee. Well, he's got none. Reinforcements arrive now. Confederate movement. Okay. Okay. Ah, I used all my movement. But I'm going to advance on this guy and fire on him. I'll advance on him. I'll limber up the guns and take them with me. Let's see if I can unlimber again. Oh yeah, I can. All right, now I'm closer to him. I'll do the same thing with these guns. I'll unlimber them, move them up with the infantry. Okay. Now which way are these guns facing? The wrong way. So we want to turn them. Okay, why is it not turning? There we go. Okay, now we've got Archer back here, so let's put him up here with these guys. Okay, I'm creeping closer to him. Now this guy is going to move over here. Let's see if I can turn him, and I can. Now he's going to fire into the flank of these guys. Now see, the problem is he's only got 3 units here, which means he can fire on 3 units. So I have 5 within his range. So he can't fire at 2 of them. All right, let's see who I'm getting here. Probably Pender. Let me see what time it is first. 53 minutes. Well, that's not too much. I want to keep these to an hour. Well, maybe I'll partially move Pender. So let me go to different scale. It's funny, it usually goes. Okay, there it went. So now we're on the Chambersburg Pike. You can see Hess Division is up here, and we've got a supply unit. That's it, huh? Okay, we'll move it forward. I guess it's better than nothing. I might run out of ammo. It's kind of early. Okay, that's as far as I can move, and that's it, huh? Yep, that's it. Okay, so it's kind of a surprise that he's holding out so long, but I guess he's still delaying me for the moment. If he doesn't move next time, what have I got? 2 brigades back here. I think I am going to take the long way around. Geez, I have to go all the way back here, but then I can come out here. Yeah, I'll take those 2 brigades in the long round, I'll leave Archer here to keep firing on these guys. And I'll leave Davis for the moment in background. And nuts. Well, I can take this artillery and put it off on a side road. I don't want to lead the march with artillery batteries, so I'll slough them off to the side here and have those two brigades march down this road. I was hoping I could do it the easy way, but that's okay. There's no need to push these guys now since they're going to hold. I'll just maneuver for position and casualties. I'll just keep inflicting casualties on them and wait until Pender comes up and circle around behind him with these other two units, two brigades, and hopefully come down this road and come in behind him. So that's it for this time, and we'll continue this in the second video. So let's save it.